At its most essential core purpose, propaganda serves as a tool for those in positions of power to influence public beliefs and opinions. From posters depicting fictionalized atrocities committed by their enemies to news clips centered around the general public's unwavering love for Kim Jong-il, North Korea has used various forms of propaganda in order to sway the minds of the masses since the nation's inception in 1948. However, while the use of propaganda has remained a steady and often defining characteristic of North Korea, the intent and tone of such messages has undergone drastic changes, especially in recent years, suggesting the possibility of shifting attitudes within the nation itself. The following presentation will cover these changes throughout the years while also noting aspects that have remained constant throughout North Korea's use of propaganda. Due to the fact that propaganda often goes hand in hand with the historical events of a nation, it is no surprise that some of the most prevalent and well-documented accounts of early propaganda featured in North Korea is that which express hatred for both South Korea and the United States. The Korean War, which took place from 1950 to 1953, served as a catalyst for North Korea's dedication to propaganda as a form of a weapon. The following examples show the extent to which North Korea was willing to go to influence the masses as to who the true enemies are. The example to the left features a leaflet used by North Korea during the North Korean War in an attempt to discourage the South Korean army by suggesting that the poor in South Korea cannot even get proper medical care. Similar sentiments were also used against the United States, in which posters told citizens to repel the American invader and kick out the Americans and unite the fatherland. Despite the countless examples of early North Korean propaganda stressing a deep hatred for South Korea and America, messages conveyed through propaganda shifted inward during the 1990s. Beginning in 1994 and lasting until 1998, North Korea suffered a multi-year-long famine commonly referred to as Arduous March or the March of Suffering. While a vast majority of the country was suffering from the effects and realities of starvation, the government of North Korea took to propaganda in an attempt to convince the general public that nothing was wrong. This shift inward was essential in convincing citizens that everything was going well and that the country was thriving, even if it was a blatant lie. In fact, words like hunger were banned from all forms of propaganda. A notable shift in the use of propaganda from the subjects being enemies to now being the North Korean people themselves. The government saw the potential that such messages could have in times of severe hardship. While it may be difficult to determine the true effects of such propaganda, some success must have been achieved as this shift has only been furthered in recent years. As North Korea has begun the process of modernization and bettered relations with what were once considered their most hated enemies, posters and leaflets now urge the general public to better themselves for the sake of the nation and aim for peace. Following the first summit by Kim Jong-un and Donald Trump in 2018, anti-American propaganda was soon replaced by calls for unification and peace. Rowan Beard, a tour manager at Young Pioneer Tours in North Korea, told the New York Post that all the anti-American posters I usually see around Kim Il-sung Square and at shops, they've all just gone. In 5 years working in North Korea, I've never seen them completely disappear before. Instead, propaganda now features calls for unity and prosperity, as shown in the image on the left. They also have begun to stress an increased interest in the futures of the younger citizens as seen on the right. While this change in message has only begun fairly recently, this proves rather important as it suggests a potential shift in perceived hostility of the North Korean government and a promising future dedicated to peace. Perhaps one of the most important and few constants that has remained over the course of North Korean history with regards to propaganda is the message of love and dedication for the leaders in power. One of the most prevalent examples of this concept comes from the use of video and news clips by the North Korean government. Following the death of Kim Jong-il, North Korean state TV used broadcasts to showcase the proper response to the events.
위대한 용도자 김정일 동지께서 주체 100 2011년 12월 17일
News anchors are often thought to be professional and emotionless regardless of the content they are reporting. Yet the broadcasts from North Korea feature anchors themselves weeping mid-broadcast. This use of propaganda is subtle yet effective, as it is likely seen by nearly all North Korean residents, while posters simply cannot be viewed by all. Video clips have also been used to show the nation love for the current leader, Kim Jong-un. In clips obtained by CNN, it was shown that citizens chased Kim Jong-un into freezing water to show their love for him as he left on a boat.
And when they gathered to say goodbye, many are seen openly weeping. And then, as Kim boards his boat to leave, soldiers ran frantically down the beach to say goodbye to their leader, even plunging into the icy water in their uniforms to show how much they adore him.
Such clips were likely broadcast to the entire nation to further show citizens proper behavior with regards to being in the presence of the nation's leader. Despite the passage of time, propaganda in North Korea has and will continue to be used as a tool to preach dedication and love for the leadership in North Korea. Propaganda is one of the main tools totalitarian governments use to sway the opinions of the masses and maintain control over their subjects. It also proves interesting in that it provides the outside world with further insight into the mindset of those in power and how they maintain their success in power. North Korea proves particularly unique as much of what is known of the nation is only made possible through propaganda. The evolution of propaganda within the nation of North Korea reflects the developing history of the country itself. Initially used to convince the general public to hate South Korea and the United States, posters and leaflets were used as weapons against enemies of the nation. However, as relations between the nations improved, and conditions in the country did as well, propaganda has begun to shift into calls for prosperity and peace. It has not undergone a total shift, however, as propaganda has always been used to stress the importance and dedication to leaders. Propaganda has proved to be an instrumental tool in better understanding the history and mindset of those in North Korea.